Okay, here we go, our halo. So I'll start off in the back, and the shape that I'm cutting is curved. So of course my guideline to the back, I'll section, comb the hair to natural fall, and here I'm cutting in a curved line. The challenge for cutting in a curved line is that you have to make sure that as your shears open and close, each time they close, that angle changes slightly. Otherwise, you're just cutting a diagonal line, and it doesn't aesthetically look as strong as a curved line. Cutting in a diagonal line is really easy. Cutting in a curved line is much more challenging. So up your game and do the most challenging. The end result will always pay off. Okay, so once you nail your guideline, just go back and forth and just refine your guideline. It's imperative. Otherwise, if your guideline's scuffy and messy, it will affect every other progressive section. So taking down my second section, I comb the hair onto the skin, and I make sure that I'm combing the hair to 100% natural fall. And then just on the skin, I start to follow my guideline and cut in my shape. I'm standing in front of what I'm cutting, and my eyes are right in front of what I'm cutting. Halos, they're really, really challenging. So you have to pay attention, because a lot of times, in my opinion, cutting in like a one length it could be the most difficult cut, or especially a curved length, because if you take a microscope and look at the line that you're creating, you can always find errors. So the harder you look, the more stuff you'll find, and then you get to clean up more imperfections, and the end result will give you a stronger finish, a stronger cut, a better retention, higher wealth. So again, I comb the hair to natural fall, consistent tension. I'm just using the tips of my shears. Remember, as my shears close, I change my angle slightly. So again, that allows me to cut in that curved shape. Now I take down my next section, and I'll approach the back area in the exact same manner. There are just a few major key points you really have to be aware of while you're cutting a halo. 1, combing the hair to natural fall. 2, allowing for any cowlicks. 3, as you close your shears, you adapt that angle. 4, stand in front of what you're cutting. 5, have your eyes in front of what you're cutting. 6, cut curve, not a vertical line. And that's basically it. There's not, so long as you can do those key elements, you should be fine. But the challenge isn't the execution, it's in the action. Talk is cheap. Saying it's easy. Actually doing it, it's a totally different dynamic. And the more you do it, the better you'll get. And just always be looking for imperfections. With every section, I'm looking for where I'm making mistakes. I'm not looking for my strong points. I have my strong points. I pay attention on my weaknesses. By paying attention on my weaknesses, I'm able to grow a lot faster, and I'm able to train my eye to see those imperfections. Once I'm able to see those imperfections, then in my mind I find the best solution to remedy those imperfections, and I just go and just make imperfections perfections. Here my sections start to incorporate the front area. So I'll comb the hair, again on the skin, making sure that hair is combed to natural fall. I can line up the teeth of my comb to the hair that I just combed and make sure that the strands are parallel to the teeth of my comb, and that's a pretty strong indicator that I'm actually combing the hair to natural fall. So now as I approach the front area, I use my comb to kind of give me a guide for my angle. So I just connect the angle from the back, and then here, again, as my shears close, my angle tweaks up slightly downward, so that allows me to cut in that curved shape. Remember, a halo is a curved shape. It's not a diagonal shape. Diagonal shapes, they don't look as nice. So make them curve. So it'll look like rich, expensive, and luxurious. So again, next section, I'll split it up in 2. So I'll work on the back. I'll cut from the rear to the front. Just my eyes, again, exactly where I'm cutting. I can use my fingers there to just hold the hair in place with a consistent amount of tension, or I can use my comb or just like straight on the skin. So I can even cut it in between the teeth of my comb. So there's multiple ways to approach this technique. I may have to adapt my technique according to the where I'm working on the head shape, and different techniques or cutting methods will give me that elbow room so I can go in and just nail my line. So at the front area, I'll comb the hair to natural fall. I'll pat it down with my finger just to hold it in place. And again, my eyes, shears, my body is also slanted. And now to allow for the ear, I'll take this area down in between my comb so it gives me less tension, because the most dangerous point is right there at the ear, because if you go too short, you'll put a big gigantic hole in your line, which looks totally awful, and then you have to go back and fix it. So it's better to be safe than sorry. And again, awareness is half the battle. Know where your challenges will be, so as you approach your more challenging areas, you approach them with a much higher sense of awareness. So again, still working around the ear, slowly take down those lengths, allowing for the protrusion of the ear. You also have to take into consideration most human ears, they're not at the same height level and they're not the same size. So you may have to go and like feel around the ears, because those ears will definitely have an effect on your shape. And feel free to move your guest's head around. I'll move my body around physically a lot throughout a haircut, but sometimes I need that extra help with the head position, so I may move my guest's head, but at the same time do it in like a nice polite way. Okay, so again, still following my guideline. As my shears close, my angle adapts. And just again, allowing for that ear. Baby step it. Okay, so now for the opposite side, the left side, I'll go in with the same technique. And notice how my shear, the angle changes as it closes. So that's how, again, that's how you create that curved line. And watch out for any jumpy cowlicks. So comb the hair to natural fall. Just visually assess each strand of hair and make sure that the strands that you just combed are all at 90 degrees. And that will tell you that you're actually combing the hair to natural fall. And use a consistent amount of tension. I prefer, whenever possible, when I'm cutting a halo classically, to cut it on the skin, because that will give me the most defined, hardest, cleanest line. Now sometimes I can make modern adaptations to a classical look, so maybe I'll go in with elevation, or I'll cut it really clean, then heavily texturize it. It all depends on the end result that I want to achieve. But first things first, you have to nail the halo classically, and then you can find creative adaptations. And as I reach the front, I'll be cutting from back to forward, from the front to the back. That way I'll encourage the hair that I cut to fall straight down. I found personally that if I only cut the hair, say from rear to forward and like moving forward, gradually I'll put a shape in that encourages my line, especially through the front, to start kicking forward. So when I see that happening, then I'll cut from forward to back, and it'll balance out that line. Okay, so again, on the skin, combing the hair to natural fall, just get in there and cut a super, super, super clean line. As I'm cutting this clean line, I'm visually comparing that line to, like here I can compare it to the base of my comb, because it's quite clean, or the sharpness of my scissors, like the blade. So I want a standard to compete with as I'm cutting my line. It's a good reference point, because a lot of times when we're working close up on details, our eyes can get kind of bug-eyed and fuzzy. So if you have a super clean reference right in front of you, then you can compare a fuzzy line to a clean line, or a clean line with a super clean line, and then you know you're actually cutting quite well. Or if you do find that you're getting a little bit bug-eyed, step back, or start looking at your lines from different angles, or just maybe look away for 10 seconds and just let your eyes rest, come back and look at the same line, and you'll see it totally different. So again, beginning in the back, working from the back to the front, consistent tension, always comb the hair to natural fall, eyes where you're cutting, and just work with the tips of your shears. Make allowances for that ear, standing in front of what you're cutting. And you can pay close attention to the angle of the tips of your shears, because again, that's where your creation is happening. And now I'm starting to get up into the fringe area. So again, just working in that curved line. As I move forward, my angle changes with each snip of the shear. And I want this length to fall just like in the midpoint of her nose. So it's kind of like aesthetically cool. It may not be all that practical because the guests can't see, but just for like, I'm shooting steels after this, so I want that heavier front fringe curve effect. Maybe in the salon, I wouldn't take it as long, or I can texturize it a lot more. Okay, still working in the front, curved lines. So now both sides are connecting. I don't see any super heavy weight, and I have a tendency like right about the temples to build up weight. So here I'll go in for my finish. So for the finish, I'll go in and I'll leave the hair and bevel it. So I'm using a decent amount of tension. I'm going with my vest brush. I'm not aiming for excessive root lift, thus the tension to make sure I'm pulling the root area super clean. And with that tension, it'll allow me to close up that cuticle better. Okay, so now that the hair is dry, I have to go back and refine the shape. Now this may take time. I found personally that during the technical portion, the wet part of the haircut, the more effort I put into it, the better my cleanup is once the hair is dry. If I rush to the technical haircut, once the hair is dry, I basically kill myself trying just to clean up that line. So I'd rather go in technically super, super excellent, and then once the hair is dry again, super, super excellent. Halos are extremely challenging. At the end and during your cut, you should feel you've been exerting a tremendous amount of energy. And that energy is what makes a difference between an excellent cut and a mediocre cut. Okay, and about cleaning lines, it's quite redundant. I comb the hair to natural fall, I clean my line. I'll comb my hair to natural fall again, I'll clean my line. I'll look at my line from a top to bottom point of view, from down to up point of view, and I just keep on going and cleaning that line until I barely have anything left to give. And I'll take a deep breath and I'll go again and give it some more. These lines are imperative. So just when you think it's good, it's not good enough. It can be better. So it's just that discipline, just like when you think you're done, just push yourself a little bit more. Always push yourself. That's where growth occurs. So I'll go through it here and I'm just elevating the hair and I'll texturize into it and just remove some of that heaviness. And these sections, I'm working the pivotal oval sections. And through the fringe area, I'll nail that a little bit more because I want to see some softness at the fringe, a little bit of forehead in there. Okay, well, there you have it. Our halo done classically. Enjoy.